All right, good morning. Hi, Deb. Good morning. Sorry we are getting a little bit of a late start today. I was just about to go live when one of the besties sent me Meredith O'Neill's masterpiece that she created, this PowerPoint drive that she's got going on um about me. Good morning. Say hi to everybody while I adjust here and I get ready. Say hi to your neighbors. I feel like we've just done a marathon. Not a physical one, because I couldn't do that. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, good morning. All right, we're ready to go. Okay. Um, all right, let's get going here. So we're not even going to waste any time getting into it today because first of all, you know how this goes. It's Monday. We do 24 on 24s every morning when I drive my daughter um to school. We're on our way home. So here's what's going on right now. So if you if you follow me, you should be following Aiden Carney. And the past few days since Friday, he has been doing some lives to talk about the situation with his former girlfriend, Meredith O'Neill, and their breakup. Simple breakup, just a couple people no longer, wanting to be in a relationship. Has it gone that way? No. It's been absolute mayhem. And that's how things go with her. So, and maybe him too. Maybe that's how things go with him too. So, um, he's been basically going out online and he's talking about everything that's going on. He's getting the views. The first one on Friday night, it has over 100,000 views, which is absolutely insane. Um, so Meredith has attacked and gone after primarily Jimmy, Auntie Deb, myself. I see Will catching a little bit of heat. And it's basically the three people that are out here supporting Aiden talk about what happened in his relationship with Meredith. I don't know why there aren't other people out here supporting and defending him, but that's where it is. This is not unique to Aiden. Any one of my friends who has an issue or is going through it, I support and I help. Um, I had a friend that went through a divorce, and I stood by her despite, public backlash and people who didn't think that the divorce was a good idea. And I stood behind her publicly and was there to defend her whenever I needed to. This is not like a unique thing. I'm not doing it for clout. I'm not doing it for anything. I'm doing it because I think Aiden needs support because this is an extraordinary breakup. So Meredith is choosing to go after me in a couple of social media posts. This crazy shit about this. She's changed her Twitter account. I think it says "The Real Meredith is Dead," which is like another Taylor Swift song. We're slowly losing grip with reality, in my opinion. But so there's this unique situation that has happened in my life, which is down here in the bayou, as it is affectionately known, down here in Somerset. I was pretty unknown when I first moved to town, and I moved to town right when my son was born. Um, and actually, when he was born, like a couple of months after he was born, and I was a stay-at-home mom. I was PTO president of my daughter's school, Julia's school at South Elementary, for 2 years. And then I had Georgia, and I stepped away from that because then I had like three kids under the age of like 8. And everything was just pretty boring, basic, copacetic. I didn't have a job. I stayed at home. Then I went through a separation with Jack and George's dad. We lost our home to foreclosure. Well, we got our home during that 2008, uh, mortgage housing situation where everybody really got mortgages that shouldn't have gotten mortgages. But we ended up, we basically separated and lost our home. I had some options to keep my home. If you talk to Julia's dad, sometimes when we're like shooting the shit and talking and getting nostalgic, he always gets mad that Jack and George's dad didn't let me and Ron buy our house. You know, the house was Jason's childhood home, and he and I broke up, and he did not want me to stay in his home, probably because he knew I was going to end up getting in a relationship with someone and getting married, and he, you know, didn't want us in that house. Now, I totally disagreed, because the home would have gone to Jack and Georgia and they would have lived there. And Ron offered to purchase the home from Jason and buy him out, and Jason said no. So unfortunately, we had to, you know, lose the home to foreclosure, which sucks. Fast forward several years, where Jeff and I are married. We come back to Somerset because we moved out of Somerset for 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years. We come back to Somerset. Now my kids are all in school. George's, you know, kindergarten, first grade. And now I've got 3 kids in school full time. I go to work at Bank of America, but I'm getting a little bit more vocal, as you can imagine, on things that matter to me, like my kids' school, right? And I'm paying attention a little bit more. And now I'm like, well, I don't like this, and we got to fix this. You know what I mean? And this is just a natural progression. You know, like I was PTO mom, and then I was just basically like, you know, if I see something and I don't like it, isn't it worth asking to see if we can change it? I mean, if you don't ask, then you never know. So I started to ask about body mass index testing. Now, keep in mind, at the time, I did not know who was running this town. I didn't know politics in Somerset. I didn't know who was elected, who wasn't. I didn't know the players. I just didn't know. I was born here, but I spent the majority of my childhood out of Somerset. And when I came back, I didn't really interact with people beyond the school. I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy being a mom. So now when I start seeing things that I feel like I need changing, I start looking around and saying, well, who's making these decisions? Who's elected? Who's doing this shit? And I start familiarizing myself with the politicians in town. Now, I've always been involved in politics. I used to work on campaigns in Fall River when I lived there with Ron. Ron's business partner ran for city council a couple of times. One of my dear friends, Steve Walsh, who passed away, was a Fall River city councilor. And so I worked on George DeComb's mayoral campaign. I was always in it. And so, but never like local, you know, and I don't know, it never really directly impacted me. It was fun and I loved it, but I never really had a vested interest in what I was doing. So now we're in Somerset, and I want to stop my kid from being pulled out of class to have her body mass index tested, her BMI. And I reach out to a member of the school committee, and her name was Melissa Terra at the time. And she happened to be a Republican. And I basically was like, how does this work? You know, like if I wanted something to change, what do I do? And she's like, well, you got to go to a school committee meeting and you got to go speak at public input. And I was like, oh, okay. Obviously, as you can tell, your girl had no problem doing that. And so I started going to school committee meetings and paying a little bit of attention. And then the Parkland shooting happens. And I lived through Sandy Hook with my kids being in school, but Parkland really changed me, because Parkland, you could see things that were happening inside the school on social media, on Twitter at the time. And I know a lot of people weren't on Twitter back then, but I was. And you could see video uploaded to Twitter from inside a classroom at Parkland while they were shooting. And I was like, that classroom looks eerily similar to Julia's classroom. And so I really just was like, I got to get involved here. So I started inquiring about school safety, and I was like, we need SROs. We just need cops. You need an SRO. That's it. School resource officer, you need them. We only had one at the time for the whole school district, and he spent most of his time at the high school. And so I did research. I went online, and I started like vocalizing on social media that it was time for like us to get more involved. And a bunch of parents reached out to me and like, I agree with you. I want to help. So I formed the original mom group and we started going to meetings. And the first meeting, there's a ton of us, standing room only. We're all talking. We need safer schools. Teachers started messaging me and saying, doors don't lock. We don't have things for safety. And so, scared and not wanting to speak up, they gave me all the tea. And then I was like, okay, I'll just bring that up next time I go to a meeting. This started to create a buzz in town. And there were people in town that were really happy about that, including parents and teachers. But there were other people that weren't happy, included the elected officials and the chief of police, who basically took it as some sort of personal affront that I was trying to change things in town. Instead of partnering with me and saying, like, here's a mom who's motivated and wants to make change. Let's work together and get it done. They basically ostracized me, told me to stay, not basically, told me to stay in my lane, and made fun of me and blocked me from town groups. And when I didn't get anywhere, I ran for school committee and I lost. No problem. The first time, nobody knew who the fuck I was. Nobody knew who I was. Just a couple parents. And so, not one to give up. I stayed focused and I was like, we're going to keep plugging along here. And don't you know, we got a school resource officer. We got one for the elementary schools and the middle school, and big win for Jess Machado and the moms and everybody who was, and some dads too. Big win. And I was like, well, this does work. This works. When you get involved and you go to, I never missed a fucking meeting. Never missed a meeting. I would go to every school committee meeting in person. And it worked. And so I was like, well, we got to keep plugging along until we get what we need, get what we want, you know? And the bureaucracy in towns when it comes to spending tax dollars is crazy. They spend it on whatever they want, but when you want something, it's like they make you jump through fucking hoops. Stand by. Coffee. This, I know this is a little lengthy, but it's all gonna come together. Sorry.
Hi, welcome to Society. What can I get for you?
Hi, could I have a large iced white chocolate pistachio made with whole milk?
Anything else for you?
That'll do it today.
$7.49. Thank you.
Thank you. So I continue to advocate, but at the same time, my reputation in town was not good. Now, when people started attacking me, I admit I was like a caged animal. I was like basically swearing all over the internet. I was like, fuck these cunts. You know what I mean? Like, and at the time I didn't realize you can't run for office and say that on the internet. And you can't attack a politician. I learned so many lessons. Okay. So many lessons. You really just can't talk and act the way that I was acting, because it turns some people off, certainly until they get to know you. But at the time, nobody knew me. So I decided to run again. So the first time I ran is 2019, and I think I got 300 votes, like absolutely stupid. I mean, this is a small town. You don't have a lot of voting. But I decided I was going to run again the next year. At this time, a woman by the name of Holly McNamara was a Somerset selectman, and her friend, Shauna Geary, was the director on the Council on Aging, and the chief of police at the time was George McNeil. And these are three people that are very relevant to this story. So I was on my way to a radio station, WBSM, which ultimately, good morning. Nope, it's a large iced coffee.
With the cream only? Is that you?
Nope, so it's a large iced white chocolate pistachio made with whole milk.
Oh, okay. I have that one too.
Okay, no worries.
To place phone calls, press the phone button and say,
Nope, we don't need that. Sorry, things are going off the rails here.
It's not coming up for me.
I just ordered it.
No, I
Oh,
have it on one screen and then
Yep.
on my.
oh,
Sorry, it's just gonna
that's okay. Alrighty. This is how today's going. She can't find my order. You all heard me order it, correct? Awesome. So just hear me out. So at the time, those people did not like me at all. They wanted to shut me up. They were basically like, who the fuck is this girl think she is? She needs to knock it the fuck off. We need to shut her up. Blah, 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 blah. So, guy on the school committee, his name is Andy Crook. He's a cop in Fall River, since retired. He's one of the seats that I'm running for school committee. Andy Crook said he wasn't going to run. Now there's an open seat. There's 2 seats available at the time. Andy Crook calls me and he says, I need to speak with you off record. I wasn't a reporter at the time.
Here we go.
Sure thing. Thank you. So he says, I've got to talk to you. I said, okay. He goes, but you can't tell anybody. And I said, okay, dude, sure. Fun fact, TT slept with Andy Crook many, many a year ago at a keg party. But anyway, I digress. So Andy Crook calls me one day and he says, listen, I got a phone call from the powers that be in town. And they asked me to consider not retiring from the school committee and staying on board. And I told them that professionally and personally, this wasn't going to work out for me. And he said that they told him, Jess Machado can't get on the school committee. We can't let her on there. She'll turn everything on its side. And he gave me some more information. He told me the people that were on the call, including elected officials and superintendent, principals. And Andy wanted to tell me, wanted to give me a heads up. He wanted to let me know, like, this is what you're up against and to maybe consider not running. Thanks so much. No, thank you. Thank you. That was the first time I was like, what the fuck? Like, they did a conference call to try to convince this guy not to drop out because they were worried that I might win. So I run and they run Shauna Geary against me. Shauna Geary is the director of the Council on Aging. At the time, and this isn't a rumor, this is confirmed by his ex-wife, Shauna Geary was having an affair with the chief of police, George McNeil. And his wife and I became friends. She befriended me through Facebook Messenger when she saw what was going on, that these people were up against me. And she confided in me that she had known that her husband, the chief of police in Somerset, was having an affair with the director of the Council on Aging. And so for a long time, I had that information and I certainly never shared it, but it certainly helped me understand a little bit more about what was going on. So I had no idea who these people were until this whole thing happened, just so you know. And I started putting it out there like I didn't know who these people were. And I started getting information on everybody. It's just like it is right now. The floodgates were open and some people were giving me information, and I would go on my Facebook and I would post it. Because I'm a candidate and Shauna was a candidate. And it's basically campaigning. But at the time, I didn't know. Like, listen. So to make a long story short, during the time that I was running, there was a bunch of things that happened to me in a harassing nature that I can't say right now because, honest to God, I'm not going to like go through it fast. Maybe I need to do like a whole YouTube presentation on it. But it was a lot of shit that was happening to me. That was not good. It was pretty fucking crazy. And it was all at the hands of these people. Okay. They tried to, I'll explain it. I have to explain it all in chronological order for you to understand. Okay. But this is what ultimately led to a restraining order getting approved against me. So I tried to get a restraining order, didn't really know anything about it. Keep in mind, I'm trying to get a restraining order against the director of the Council on Aging in Somerset, the girlfriend of the chief of police, and the best friend of a selectman in Somerset. I really basically had no chance. And the corruption is so fucking deep, So for anybody who doesn't understand why I am like all in on the Carney shit, it's because I fucking lived it first. Okay. When you've got people in elected fucking positions in town that are basically running the fucking show, and it's insane. Okay. And maybe somebody I know told me I didn't need to tell this whole story and there was no reason to talk about these people. And maybe I listened to that person for a little while, but it's almost like I didn't take my own advice and get ahead of this, because now look what's happening. Now look what's happening. So this whole thing happens and I try to get a restraining order. I fail. The day after the election, she wins, I lose. Shauna goes and gets a restraining order against me for things that I didn't do. And I didn't know how to prove that I didn't do them. The court never asked for proof that these things were me. Some of these things were not even written by me. It's basically like, you all know how this goes, like how restraining orders work at this point. But like, she entered into evidence posts other people wrote about her on Facebook, and that was allowed. And I didn't really know, like I couldn't, that wasn't applicable. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get the audio from it. I'm going to get the transcript and we're going to go through it all. And it's fucking nuts, okay? That she even gets this restraining order will blow your fucking mind. She gets the restraining order and instantly starts trying to get me charged with violating the restraining order. There is no shortage of complaints and specific incidents that were brought to the police while her boyfriend is the chief of police, to try to get me in front of a judge to say that I was violating the order. And it happened all the time. The smallest of things. She lied and said I drove by her work. Like, just the craziest shit. And ultimately, the magistrate who had to hear all of these things, because basically the cops were just doing the bidding of her and her boyfriend, the chief of police. And they would like, okay, send it to the magistrate. Let's have the magistrate take a look at it. None of it was ever really a clear violation, because if it was, then I would have been arrested. But it was 1,000 different little paper cuts of, well, what about this? What about this? And they'd say, well, cops would write in their reports, we're not sure. So we'd like to refer this to the magistrate. And the magistrate would basically go, I can't even believe I allowed this. I can't even. The magistrate goes, if I see you in here one more time, I'm leaving this open. If one more thing comes across my desk, you're automatically getting arraigned. So what the fuck do you think happened? They just fucking put in another complaint against me. And guess where it goes? To the magistrate. And guess what happens? I get fucking arraigned. And then guess what happens when I'm out in bail? Another arraignment. Like, it was just fucking nuts. And I didn't have one person. I didn't know any attorneys. I didn't know anything about the law. I got a public defender. I got my name dragged through fucking the papers. Everybody in my fucking community fucking thought I was a crazy person and a psychopath. They blocked me from every town group so I couldn't share my side. My husband, they blocked. Aaron, they blocked. They blocked everybody. So there was just one thing that was going around this town, and that is Jessica Machado was harassing an elected official, the Council on Aging director, so much that she now has a restraining order against her, and she's been charged, and she's going to go to jail. This was one of the most difficult times in my life. This was also, by the way, during that election, when they sent all of these things to Turtle Boy, and he wrote this story about me. So this was very difficult, very hard for me. There are some things that happened, and again, I'll probably do a whole thing about this, but somebody who worked with the director of the Council on Aging, who had the restraining order against me. Now, by the way, while this was pending, the restraining order comes up and the judge automatically renews it because there's pending charges. So it automatically gets renewed. So then the Council on Aging, she came to me using a burner number at first and basically told me everything that was happening. A lot of what I'm saying to you, I didn't know. And if it weren't for this person, I'm not sure I ever would. And this person thankfully had a conscience and came forward and told me what was happening. Ultimately, she lost her job. And a lot of grief happened for her and her family. But I'm forever grateful that she came forward and she told the truth and allowed me to share that information with my attorney. Ultimately, she had conversations with the district attorney. Now, this just took forever, though. It's not, you know how it is. Look at Aiden's cases. Just took forever. Ultimately, the district attorney heard everything, saw everything we had. We had to put together the story. The DA's office has no time to do this. I had to build the chronological order of things. I had to provide the proof. I had to put the screenshots together. I had to get the people together. I had to organize. I was fighting for my fucking life. And I had to do it all myself while raising a family, while just getting diagnosed with lupus, having a hysterectomy. Like, I was just having health issues. And I had to fight for my fucking life, put it all together, and then get it in front of the DA. And thank God the district attorney was like, oh, okay, and dropped all the charges against me. Right after that, I appealed to have the restraining order withdrawn or abated, and I failed at that, and I really didn't know how to do it. And the next year comes up, and it's the third year for the restraining order now because of all the court cases that happened. And the person goes in front of the judge asking for it to be renewed. And still at this point in time, I didn't really understand like what a restraining order was and what qualifies and what doesn't. And so basically all she had to do was get in front of a judge and cry and say, I'm scared. And she cried. I'm scared of this person. I'm a single mother. I live alone. I had never even met her. I had never met her. I'd never seen her outside of a public school committee meeting or a public event. Like, I had never met her. And I didn't know how to argue against that. And so it got renewed for the third time. And again, another year of worry, another year of waiting for them to manipulate the order, to find reasons, all of the shit. Fourth time, just so you know, fourth time, I knew my shit. Fourth time, I went to the school of Aiden Carney and I listened to all of his court cases. I listened to him fight restraining orders. I listened to him argue himself without an attorney how to get out of people wanting restraining orders against me with facts and with the law. And I researched and I figured it out. I fucking figured it out. And we go to court for a renewal, and guess what happens? Same thing. The crying, the bullshit, the fake shit. But this time, your girl ran a fucking clinic, okay? And I was just like, here's this. This is the law. This is the statute. This is this. That's not me. Where's your proof? Where's the metadata? Fuck you, blah, 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 blah. And the judge is like, denied. Boom, done, denied. Okay, these are all court docs. This is all public. Anybody can get the audio. Anybody can get the transcript. I'll get it. I don't really care. Denied. And guess what happened in court? Guess what happened? She fucking lost her shit in court. She lost her shit. She fucking started screaming at Jeff, who was standing behind me, laughing. Jeff was sitting down and he started laughing because it got denied and she got upset and she started screaming and the court officer had to go and get her out of the courtroom. All those years of acting like she was so prim and proper while dragging me. And when I finally knew what to do, you could see in the courtroom exactly what happened and what she was about. The minute the judge told me that was removed, I almost fell to the floor. I was years and years, and it's not just the removal of the order. It was years and years of suffering at the hands of political corruption and misuse of the law. And by the way, every single time we'd go for a restraining order hearing, I'd be in there hearing other restraining order hearings and listening to women who are being like, yeah, my husband beat the shit out of me. I'm pregnant. He kicked me and blah, 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 blah. And the judge is like, okay, you get a restraining order. Like, what? I had to listen to people ask for restraining orders from neighbors who, were like doing shit in their apartment buildings, like a clear violation of the law. And it's just, the whole thing was nuts. So I won. I got out of that. The restraining order was finally not renewed, and I was completely free. Shortly thereafter, I don't know, actually. I don't know if it was before or after. Before. The selectman friend that she had was out. She was not part of it anymore. And the new board of selectmen chose not to renew the contract for the chief of police. So her boyfriend did not have a job here anymore. Funny how that happens. When you're not a good person and you're not doing your job and you're not doing things right, people take notice. And so his contract was not renewed. And then shortly thereafter that, the director on the Council on Aging, who had this restraining order and did all this stuff against me, got fired. She got fired from the town of Somerset in a crazy story that is very hard to believe, but I have all of those documents as well, thanks to her friends. So she got fired, which would never be public information. We would never actually see what happened and how she got fired. But she had a group of friends file a complaint with the courts for an open meeting violation, basically saying that the Board of Selectmen conspired to fire her. And because of that, her documents on how she got fired got entered into evidence, and then we were able to see them, which is so crazy because and they lost, but had they just not done that, we would have never actually known the whole story. And the whole story was there's so much to this, but these are also public documents. She basically wanted a raise. She didn't get a raise. So she went and took a job as the director of Council on Aging in Attleboro. And she put in her resignation for Somerset, accepted the job in Attleboro, and called in sick or used vacation days in Somerset to go and start working at Attleboro, which is against the law. And so she was basically double dipping. And then she worked a couple of days in Attleboro and found out she hated it and wanted to come back and say, never mind, I'm not giving my notice. But by then, the town administrator had already figured out she had been working there. They suspended her with pay while they looked into this, called her in. She wasn't honest. And then on top of it, they were like, this is a violation or whatever. She went into the Council on Aging. She erased all of the laptops and in front of staff said she was going to do it and nobody was going to be able to work. She wasn't going to help the new it's just crazy shit. She got fired. She should have had charges pressed against her for a couple of things, but they were basically like, you're fired. So she was gone. So it took years, but she was gone. He was gone. And Holly McNamara was gone until the Turtle Boy coverage of the Karen Read trial. And the friend of that girl, Holly McNamara, who was a selectman in town, who was basically part of this whole thing, starts showing up to, not showing up. She basically had an interest in Karen Read, which is fine. Everybody does. Until she shows up at a Karen Read jury watch. Waiting for the verdict. And I see her there. And I'm driving home and I'm doing a 24 and 24 and I'm telling everybody she's there and she's fucking nuts and blah, 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 blah. And she goes and tries to get a restraining order against me. She puts together this whole affidavit about me and all of the things I say about her, and very similar to the other one, very similar to the friend. puts a bunch of social media posts that aren't mine, puts a bunch of shit together, says I confronted her and gotten her face out at the Karen Reed thing. You and anybody will know how many freaking cameras were there. I was recording when it happened. And this time I was working for Fall River Reporter. I told my boss at the time, I said, this is what's going on. I know I'm in a fight for my life here. I know there's a chance that this restraining order could get through. So Mike let me take a week off from work, and I prepared my case to fight this fucking restraining order. I built a mini one to get a restraining order against her, just in case the judge was like a weirdo and was basically just going to hand them out like candy. And I defended myself in court in a way that honestly, I wish I had done the first time 5 years ago. But we all learn. It's all a journey, right? And it got denied. That was also a clinic. The judge actually thought I was an attorney at first. Will Flanagan, former mayor of Fall River, the one who was stabbed, Will Flanagan was talking about me in the court and what it was like. Attorneys were talking about it. Like they couldn't believe that I was defending myself that way. And I'm sorry, everybody, but there was a lot of trauma. So I wasn't like, we're not going down this path again. There's no way. It got denied. It just got denied. So without getting into the details about the original thing, because that has a timeline, I mean, the police reports are absolutely insane. There is a story in a police report that is just like, you wouldn't even believe it unless I explained it to you. But in an event to try to get me to violate that original restraining order or one of the renewals, Holly posted something on online for I'm sorry, it's wrong. There was a fake profile that they went to the police and said they thought it was me. This is crazy because you guys with fake profiles and all this stuff, you'll get it. So they basically, Shauna went to the police department and said, there's a fake profile on Facebook and it is harassing me. It's contacting me. So it's a violation of the restraining order. And I'm pretty sure they were basically like, well, what proof do you have it's her? And the only thing they had was that this person said it was me. And so they went with that. Now, it's possible that that would have worked, and it probably could have, because that's how simple it was for her to get in violation of these orders. But for some reason, they didn't take it. So the person who was the fake profile had a item listed on Facebook Marketplace. It was a painting of the Wizard of Oz. And I kid you not, Holly McNamara sent the profile a message and said, I want to buy this. And they made an arrangement to buy the item. And they set up a sting with cameras. It's in the police report, to catch me buying the item from the quote unquote fake profile, to show that I was actually, not me buying it, them buying it from me as you know what I mean? Like they thought it was me, that I was selling an item. They went to go buy it and they wanted to catch me on video to show that I was the person selling the item and that I was the fake profile. So they could say that that was a violation of the fucking restraining order. Are we following? It is the craziest thing in the world. That is all of that and more. There's too much. It deserves, I regret not going through this. The bigger issue here is that was all just really known. Fall River, Somerset, Bristol County, people down here knew that story. It was in the Herald News. It was on social media down here on Facebook. It never translated over to X. I never told the story because I didn't have a YouTube channel back then when I first started covering Karen Reed. And so it just never made it to this platform where all of you exist. And I know some of you have crossovers from Facebook. And what Meredith is trying to do is now like share that story, of course, an abbreviated version from a different perspective with all of the people on X to like shame me or get the shock value. And it's okay. Like, I always wondered why it never made it over to X, because it's a pretty crazy story. You know what I mean? But it never made it. And I think what's happened here, from what I can tell, is based on information that I have. Kayla Churchill, which you all know, I've talked about, part of the Mass GOP. Kayla Churchill pulled this video from Kate Peter. She shared it all over Facebook. So that's another thing, like the crossover from X to Facebook. So Kate Peter's video that she made about me, because I'm friends with Aiden, goes to Kayla Churchill in the Mass GOP. She posted on Facebook. That kind of goes crazy. But then there are some signs. Then you can see Jen Altman is talking to Kayla Churchill. Holly McNamara is involved with talking to Jen Altman. So there's all of these little weird crossovers. And now Meredith is now bringing the local story to you guys, right? Like the whole crossover has happened. It's basically like all of these extremely weird, insecure women have all partnered together in an attempt to, like, I don't know, like, expose me to like a new group of people. I don't know. So now Meredith is going to do her own video, or she has. Again, close your eyes. Here's Meredith making a fucking PowerPoint with audio and shit like that. Like, if that ever happens to me, if you guys see me like making videos with sounds and like picking a font and shit, put a bullet in my fucking temple. Okay? Put a bullet in my fucking temple. I am all done, okay, existing, if that is what my life comes to. I'm not kidding you. That is the most pathetic shit of all fucking eternity. So now Meredith has an axe to grind because I support her ex-boyfriend, who clearly has a story to tell about his relationship with her and his attempt to like disconnect from her. I happen to point out a couple of things like the family stone thing. And now, instead of going and getting on with her fucking life, she wants to come at me and she's going to drag me. So what I'm basically looking forward to is making a lot of fucking money this month, because every time I get on the internet and people come at me, I make money. People listen to what I say and they want the drama, and I just ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching all the way to the fucking bank. Poverty no more, Meredith. Poverty no more. Do your video and then let me do a live stream dissecting it. And it's monetized, and then I get the money. I'll be damned if this car gets repoed. So I have to mentally prepare myself for that. Which, you know, again, just happened just before I got on this live. I saw this video. You know, the thing about living my life open and sharing everything bad is that, unlike Aiden, I don't have a lot of shit that hangs over my head. It's embarrassing, and there's a lot of things about, you know, the past 8 years, 9 years that are cringeworthy and suck. Do I want all those things to get rehashed and brought out to a new layer of people? No, I don't. And it sucks, and I'm going to have to deal with that. But that's the consequence for being who I am, and I own it. And I fuck up a lot. I make a lot of mistakes. I don't do everything right. I try, but I don't always succeed. I don't know. I can tell you, I'm a different person than I was when I first ran for school committee and when I ran the second time. I'm a different person after I got arraigned and I went to jail. I took the advice of people that were close to me, that basically said, there's a way to do this, try it this way. And then I did. And you do get more flies with honey, if that makes sense. So I get it. I've learned. I still have moments. I don't, the only thing here that I just don't get is like the sexual deviant thing here. This weird slut shaming thing that's going on is kind of peculiar. I just don't understand why, and this has been going on for a long time, that people can't be sexual. People can't talk about sex. People can't talk about like what they like in sex and what they don't like in sex. It's a really unique thing for me, because it seems very normal. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really understand why it's so taboo with the internet as it is, with the world the way that it is. I am really confused why, like, me saying that my husband took a video of us having sex in Las Vegas in front of a window is a big deal. You know what I mean? I can't even imagine like that. I don't get it. I don't know. And maybe this is something I have to like, again, like be removed from years from to maybe look back and be like, oh, maybe like you don't need to talk about that. But like, I don't understand what the real issue is with this stuff. Do you know what I mean? You know, there's just, I don't know, man. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what things about me are so bad. I don't know. And why people keep thinking they're bad. These are people that, I don't know, even if a nun was like, Jessica, these things you've done, these things you've said, not even just sexual, anything, are just so bad, I still wouldn't even be like, oh, geez. I would be like, okay, sister, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? Like, why I used this word last night on Aiden Spaces. I said desensitized. Like, why are we so desensitized? What do you know what a bad person is? Do you know what a bad person does? Somebody brought this up on about that video with Aiden, the night that Meredith had him and she was recording him and she was saying, like, the bad person, the bad story there would have been if when she was acting that way, he fucking punched her in the face. You know what I mean? That's the bad story. That's the bad person. That's the one you never follow anymore. That's the one you unsubscribe from. That's the person you say, I don't care what the fuck comes out of this guy's mouth. I'm done. Right? If he did that, not him fucking crying on the floor and being like, you know, in his head, he's just like, get me away from this bitch. What did I do? Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, like they're like in this scenario, okay, like I can't even begin to think like in my realm of like being a mother and like my schools and like the school resource. I was like, what could I have done that would have been constituted as like an unsubscribable moment? You know what I mean? Like, what could I fucking do? Like, maybe I need to ramp it up. Maybe I need to do some crazy shit to put all of the other stuff in perspective. But like, obviously I'm joking, so whatever. But what I mean, what is crazy about anything that I've done? And how is it that like with a video and with some splicing and some audio that they can just fashion it so that it looks a certain way? And I guess my question is everybody else smart enough to know and see it for what it is? I guess not, because I lost my studio space over it. I know that the only way to end what's happening to me personally is to just stop existing online. If I stop writing stories, if I stop YouTubing, if I don't put up a comment or a thought, all of this will eventually go away. And unfortunately, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can dismantle the community that I have built for myself. I don't think that I could stop sharing my life with people. I don't think I could stop writing about things that are corrupt. I don't think I could stop. I don't know. I just don't think I can. I think the pressure is mounting right now, just so you know. Like just to be honest with you, the pressure is mounting. I am feeling a little bit of suffocating. The past couple of weeks have been really fucking hard. I miss my studio tremendously. But turns out it's a better show from my house, I guess, right? So I'm not sure. Listen, I have to prepare myself for a new video from Meredith where she's going to outline all of these things. And I have to revisit all of that stuff again. And all of the restraining order stuff again. And all some really difficult times in my life. But I think it's overdue anyway, to be honest with you. And I really wish I had told these. I really wish I had pulled all of these court docs in advance. There's crazier stuff with this. There's crazier stuff that happened. I will share this one right now. Do you want the story? Yes or no? Just tell me. Okay. So during that very first, and I know some people are newer here. So during the very first restraining order hearing, right after the election, Shauna goes to the court. By the way, it's COVID and everything is remote, which I think made it even harder because I'm doing my very first defense of a restraining order and it's all done on a phone. It wasn't even Zoom back then. We didn't have Zoom. It was phone calls. Can you imagine? A phone. Anyway, the morning of the hearing to defend myself against the restraining order, her attorney sends over an email to me with a bunch of pieces of evidence. And they, but in court now, we know this, you have to send it over. You got to give them a chance. Or if you're, Ken Mello or Kazi, you just hand it in the middle of the thing or a minute before. But I got mine the morning of, and I was at my house. Aaron was there, and we opened the email, and I'm scrolling through all of these screenshots of basically things on the internet, many of which weren't even my words or whatever. So I just didn't have the money to talk to a lawyer. I just didn't have the money for it. So we get the packet, we're going through it, and we scroll through. And at the very bottom, almost the very last page, is a letter. And it's addressed to no one. And I wish I had another thing in front of me. I'll do a YouTube presentation on this because it's pretty mind-blowing. The year before, our fire chief killed himself, shot himself, right after Christmas, I believe. And I didn't know him. I didn't know any of these people at the time. Again, didn't really know the politicians, didn't know the players. And I knew him because he actually was a client at my bank and I managed his accounts at Bank of America. His name was Scott Jepson. And so I knew him only from the bank. And we talked all the time. He came in almost every other day, like to use the ATM, which was right in front of my office. And when I didn't have clients, I'd always be standing out in the lobby. And so I talked to him quite frequently. And I helped manage his money when he sold a house. And just, that's how I knew Scott. And he killed himself. And it was pretty devastating. But it's also a taboo situation that a lot of people don't talk about because what the fuck, what happened, right? And certainly not me. I wouldn't discuss it. I didn't know any of these people. I don't know his wife. I don't know anything. But in the packet of evidence, there was a letter. And the letter is from a person who seems to know Scott Jepson. And the letter basically says that Scott Jepson killed himself because a couple of weeks before, he caught his wife sleeping with the chief of police. The same chief of police that I told you about earlier, the one that was in a relationship with Shauna Geary. And the letter was basically calling out people, elected officials and department heads in the town who knew and didn't say anything. And Erin and I are reading this in real time, and it is the first time we've seen it. It's the first time I heard about it. And I didn't understand what it was doing in this packet of evidence. And on the second page after it was an envelope, and it was written out to Shauna Geary at the Council on Aging. And I don't know, I just didn't know like what it was doing in this packet. But at the same time, also absorbing what we had just read. And we were like, are you reading this? Like, what the fuck is this? What is this? And so essentially what she did was she said, I wrote that letter and I sent it to her. And I denied it. I denied it. I had never seen it before. That's not my handwriting. I don't know any of these details. I don't know any of this stuff. Like, absolutely not. And I think during that hearing, it was pretty glazed over, but I remember it being a very poignant moment for me where I was just like, why the fuck would somebody say I wrote that? Like, there's just no way. So this was entered into evidence, which means it's public. And I know Aiden's going live. Sorry. I just got the notification. So I was basically like, I don't know why I'm being mentioned. I can't believe that they're thinking this is me or whatever. Flash forward to just this year when my friend Todd was running for selectman in Somerset, and he took over for the former chief of police that got fired, or his contract didn't get renewed. Todd became the next chief. So these people obviously didn't want Todd to now become a selectman. Todd retired. Now he's going to be an elected official. They didn't want him to become an elected official. So Holly McNamara takes that letter and like puts it public and talks about it and blames me and says me publicly that I admitted to it and that it was me. It is the craziest shit in the world. And now these are the people that are pairing up with Meredith to come and bring this story to the mainstream media. It's crazy. It's crazy. By the way, the assistant director at the Council on Aging called me one day and said, Shauna is writing a letter to herself, threatening herself, and she is going to mail it to herself and say it is from you. And these people are so nuts. They went online, looked at my campaign finance documents from when I was running for school committee, looked at my name and how I filled things out, and tried to copy my handwriting to write the envelope on the outside of the envelope to send to herself so she could go to the police and say, I got this letter from Jessica Machado. I think it's her. Look at the handwriting is the same. And then try to get me arrested. And I have proof. I told the girl, where is it? And she's like, it's on the laptop here or the computer at the Council on Aging. I said, get your fucking phone out and take a picture of it right now. Take a picture of it before anything happens. And the minute Shauna left the room, she took out her phone and she took a picture of it on the computer. You can see the curtains from the Council on Aging. You know exactly where it was taken. The metadata would show it, everything. Like, this is real shit. So if you people wonder why I am the way I am, look no further to what happened here in Somerset. A very crazy story that Meredith is going to try to tell from the perspective of the people adjacent to that. So it is what it is. I also think, I don't know what's going on, but I would suspect that Aiden probably needs to go to the police immediately and basically document in the best possible way everything that has happened and get ahead of this and go and get something against her. Yeah, but the handwriting experts, like, it didn't matter because her boyfriend was the chief of police, and the investigators and the people and the detectives all worked for him. So he was going to do exactly. Yes, I know who the Fisher family is. So there's that. So Meredith, I've already seen and heard about her partnering with these people, or Kayla Churchill with Altman and Holly and all of these people. So listen, I probably another great part of having to do my studio stuff from home. If Meredith puts out a video of me today, we'll do a stream tonight and we'll just break it down. We'll go through it. We'll bring the facts. When I get off of this with you this morning, I am going to go and get all my court docs together. I'm going to pull up all my police reports. I have almost all of those things handy, but I definitely need to get some transcripts or some audio. I'll throw a request in for those, just in case we need them. We may. I mean, I don't want to get too heavy. It's such a complex story, and I hate to say it, but it needed its own, like, Canton Confidential or whatever it needed, like, volumes 1 through 10. You know what I mean? It's so much that it's like, it's very complicated. It's a story that I fucking wish I had done it beforehand. That's all I'm going to say. Listen, here's the facts. There are a bunch of women that don't like me. Okay. There's no men. There's just some women that don't like me. And that is not new to me. So, oh, you guys want to hear something crazy? I don't know what stream it was on. Was it Bunny or was it the Saturday show? But remember I told you, like, Kayla Churchill, she put this video out and I lost my studio and blah, blah, blah. And I mentioned that the Mass GOP hadn't really done anything, that the chair of the party had sent me a message and was like, stand strong, I support you. And only one person reached out and called me, and that was former congressional candidate Julie Hall. And she is also a state committee woman. And I said that she reached out, she called me, and she, suggested that I speak with an attorney, and gave me a name and whatever. And I mentioned that on the show. Well, apparently Kayla is now going after Julie Hall, and Julie Hall received an email from Kayla, and going crazy on her. And Julie Hall messaged me last night and she's like, did you do a podcast on me? And I was like, listen, here's the link. I mentioned it. It was not disparaging against you. You know what I mean? Like, here, but also, you know what, Julie? Welcome to my world where you do nothing and you get attacked. So maybe if this happens to more people, then everybody will start acting and doing things to try to stop. The Mass GOP needs to denounce Kayla Churchill immediately. You cannot have a state committee woman who is elected going after another Republican, a chairwoman of a Republican town committee. It's crazy. Crazy. If you took that energy and went after Democrats, maybe you'd win an election. So I just have this small group of women who have their own issues, their own insecurities, their own hangups, who don't like me. I don't know. Well, first of all, I don't really care to figure it out why they don't like me, but I have learned that there are more women who do like me than women who don't. When that metric changes, when that number changes, and it's more women who don't like me than women who do, I'll hang it up. Until then, I'm going to stay and I'm going to keep doing what I do, which is having fun on Wednesdays and doing these things. But I'll say this. Historically, I play the long game, and there are ways to stop people from hurting you. And so in my instance, the long game was, well, if the people in power are making the decisions to put police chiefs in power and people in jobs where they can use the laptops there to write letters to themselves and say it was me, well, then I guess we have to get rid of the elected officials. And then how do you do that? Well, you find really good people who want to serve, who have some sort of ethics, who aren't corrupt, and you work very hard to get them elected. And then you win elections. And then you win another election. And then before you know it, your board of selectmen is controlled not by you and your friends who are corrupt. The board is controlled by people who are ethical, upstanding members of society who don't do what you do. And so everything changes. Then they don't renew the contract. Then they find out that you're lying about your job. And then those people no longer have power. In Meredith's instance, it's a different long game, but it's a long game nonetheless. And so I have learned over the past 6-7 years to allow people to get their moments, to allow them to do their scorched earth things that they want to do and do what they want. Like with Kayla Churchill, put out your videos. Meredith, you can put out your videos, but Kayla Churchill, as the state committee woman, has that power right now. And there's nothing I can do about it. What I can do is I can run against her next time, or I can run somebody else against her. And I can support that candidate and find somebody that is really, really good. And I can help them beat her. And then she doesn't have that power anymore. Long game, people. Meredith is a different story. Meredith is a different story. So we have to figure out how we take that power away from Meredith. And I wasn't really sure if she was going to go at me. I mean, the things that she's doing now, like the things on her, that's not going at me. That's her reacting to me being friends with her ex-boyfriend. That's okay. What she's doing today, that's a little different. And so you have to take a look at it and we have to figure it out. And then we play long game. That's it. We'll figure it out. In the meantime, I'm very grateful for all of you guys. Hi, Joshua Borden. I am going to be running against Kayla. I am. Definitely. Because unfortunately, well, that's for the political show. There's a bunch of seagulls. Oh God, there's trash everywhere. And I don't know why the town has allowed this trash to go crazy, but it's just going, it's mayhem over here today down at the waterfront. Good morning, Mermaid Mary. So that's that. I suspect we're going to have another crazy week with these unhinged women who can't focus on themselves and, want to go nuts and go crazy and whatever. I mean, I don't know. So anyway, that's that. Let me read a couple comments and then we're going to go. And then we're going to call the town and tell them to come and handle this trash situation because we've got birds pulling trash out. Brian Walsh trial starts today. Let's read some comments. I wonder if her job will be notified about how she's acting. She is taking a huge chance. I don't fuck with people's jobs. She's lucky. They're all lucky. Unless they're elected officials or it's a municipal job. I don't fuck with people's jobs because you have kids. So to me, I would never, there's things I don't do. I don't call DSS on people and I don't go after your jobs. Good morning. They need hobbies. Agreed. TB needs to call his attorneys. He texted me while I was doing the stream, so I'll call him after this. She claims she's not even working there anymore. I don't know. I stay away from people's jobs, as crazy as it is, because these people are impacting my job and my revenue streams. But I will tell you, I got more views of my shows the week Kayla Churchill tried to scorch earth than I had in the weeks leading up to it. So I don't know, if you keep coming at me, then I'm going to talk about it. And then I don't know, YouTube is like, they pay me for it. It's fun, I guess. I don't know. The worst thing is being in the car and looking at like your face and your eyebrows. And I'm like, I wish I had tweezers here right now. Anybody ever do that? Because the light is here so good, but I need to like, anyway, we're done. Sorry. Whose birthday? It's Mermaid Mary's birthday. Happy birthday. Just let me just read. Happy birthday. You have to have car tweezers. Just play with the emotional support chin. You guys, I don't have car tweezers. What is this? Wait, everybody is going nuts about car tweezers? I don't have car tweezers. Guys, wait, what is happening? Everybody is talking about tweezing in cars. This is a thing? I have tweezers. I'll put it here in the car. This is so funny. I just mentioned it. Thank you just for looking out for Aiden. It does. It's the best light. Yes. I'm dying with these comments about the. Also, I never really had like any random chin hair or anything, but since menopause essentially took over my life, yeah. So it's just unfortunate. I obviously have to make some changes. Mermaid Mary's birthday. Happy birthday. Also, my emails, text messages have ramped up from the besties. I put all that out there so you guys can communicate with me. I'm going to pull my laptop today and we're just going to sit and try to respond to everybody. Some of the messages I respond to really quickly. I read everything. I just don't always get to respond. I'm not kidding. It's getting a little out of control. But I will try to respond to all of you, but I read them all. I don't have a PO box. I am working on getting a different address for delivery things. But my address is public. I've run for office, so unfortunately that happens. All right, let's get off of here. This has been, it's almost 9. Oh, that's usually how it goes, right? 7:30 to 9. Yeah, and we started a little late today. You can't even DM me. Hold on, let me just put my email down in the bottom. Hold on. There's my email address. You can email me. Okay. So today, it's just 24 and 24. Tomorrow is also just 24 and 24. Wednesday, we do Bunny After Dark. If things get out of hand, we may have to do an impromptu live stream and put on a presentation. That's why I'm going to get all my stuff together. Because I also, I feel like you guys would take my word for it, but why not bring the receipts? Why not bring all of the stuff? You know what I mean? Why not have, I don't know. I think you guys find that kind of stuff interesting, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go. Full moon this week, but is it a beaver moon? It is not. My favorite thing is that bunny moon light up globe thing. Oh, I absolutely love it. So charming. He's in my bedroom. I love him. Julia is off today. My kids came, well, this was a little intense, but let's talk about other things that I would normally talk about, and then we'll end this while I'm on my drive home. Look at this little seagull. He's sitting in the water in the puddle, splashing his feet. You're so charming. You're so cute. I have no treats for you. Sorry. Keep a clean car. So we used to, when the kids were little, we would decorate the tree the day after Thanksgiving because the kids were off from school. Obviously, the kids are older now. So coordinating with them was a little bit of a challenge between work and boyfriends and things. So finally, everybody was home last night at 8 o'clock and we decorated the tree. I posted a little video of it. And Julia came over and I packed up some food for her to take with her. She's off today, so I'm going to get to see her. Julia only works 4 days a week. Bless her soul, she did something right with this career choice, but she only works Tuesday through Friday. And so there's a local bar here in that Julia and Aiden have been going to for several years. It's like their party bar, you know what I mean? And Jack last night was like, when we're done, can I go to this bar? They're doing karaoke and all my coworkers are going. And he doesn't drink. He's not 21. He's only 19, but they allow, I guess, you to go in. I don't even really know. I have no idea. But Jack doesn't drink. He has not even tried. I think he's tried a beer. I think his dad let him try a beer at his house when he was sleeping over there a couple months ago. And I love this for us, but he doesn't seem to like drinking, and he doesn't do drugs. He doesn't smoke weed. He's just like me, right? Like it's just I'm just not a substance person. Thank God. So anyway, it was just funny because Julia was like, wait, Jack is going to the bar? And she's like, I can't believe this. It's weird that like two of my kids are in that like age range. And he ended up going to do karaoke. And I don't know. I just love it for Jack. He was such a quiet kid, and he has or was diagnosed with autism and being on the spectrum, and I guess with Asperger's syndrome, which I know they don't really use those categories anymore. And just to see him come so far socially is just, I'm so proud of him. Kid's got like a 3.8 GPA right now, which is crazy. He's just thriving. Kid is thriving, and I love to see it. On the flip side of that, Julia, I guess, went out and she was like, I just don't want to drink anymore. I just want to be in my house. I love this for her. I love it. It's like the college years are over. You're an adult now. You have a big job. You have a big home. You have tenants. She had friends over the night before Thanksgiving, and she was like, I was just so worried. Like, are we too loud upstairs from our tenants? They pay us rent. We don't. And I was just like, it's so great. So great. So great. So anyway, that's it. So anyway, we did the tree, and I'm so happy. And so we're going to finish decorating today, probably later on tonight, but we've got to do all of this stuff today and get some stuff ready. Normally we would have a Republican Town Committee meeting tonight. I have to really figure out to get myself over this mental hurdle of doing it. I canceled last month because I was just feeling the heat from these people, and I'm feeling it again. I don't want to have it. It makes me want to stop. It makes me want to be like, it's not worth it. I've got too much other shit going on. But everybody's asking, is our meeting tonight? Is our meeting tonight? And I just don't fucking want to do it. I don't want to do it. And I can't do that. I can't quit because then Caleb wins. What are we doing? You can't stop there. You can't turn there. What? Whatever. Guys, you are not going to believe this. The person in the car behind me. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. Scratch that. Never mind. Sorry, false alarm, besties. Go ahead. Go. You can go. It's fucking chaotic here on Riverside Avenue right now. All right. So anyway, it was great. I'm so happy. It's Christmas season. Very happy. Okay. Can we be done with this? We're going to be pulling into the driveway. Let's get our laptop. Let's organize some things. Let's build a PowerPoint presentation to counterpoint the gay PowerPoint presentation that Meredith is going to be putting out together today. I'm just going to pull some court docs. Maybe I'll put some fancy words and fonts and put some music. Maybe I should do my own. All right, I'm home. I love you all. Have a really great Monday. We might be back later. Who knows? Emergency press conference is possible. Goodbye. Love you. Bye. These people. What is she doing? Oh, we're still live. Sorries. Bye.